Hello everybody, today I'm going to teach you how to use the cams for the Necchi Supernova. Perhaps other machines use the same setup, and hopefully this video will be helpful to you all. Okay, so here we have a page in our manual. It shows different designs that you might choose to use, but more importantly over here it gives you the instructions. So for the first 3 columns you'll have the cam number that you're supposed to use. Now I know you see 0 here. It doesn't mean that you're not going to use a cam. It means that you're going to use the cam number 0. Okay, this column talks to you about the needle position. So some will use the needle all the way over to the left, some in the center, some to the right. If you see this little symbol here, it simply means ditto, like you're supposed to use the one previous. Okay, so you see that a lot in this book. Here, this column, it's going to show you the zigzag stitch lever. I did a video on that if you want to review that. But we'll go through this anyway. Next column is the design graduating knob. That's going to give you how big you want it to be as far as lengthwise is concerned. And then here, the stitch length regulating knob, sometimes you'll see 2 numbers, 0 to 3, so that means you can use any position in between those 2 numbers. Okay, it'll lengthen the design while you're stitching in real time, while you are stitching. So you can change that as the machine is going. Obviously you need to know exactly what you're doing for the design, but you know, why not experiment with it and see. Okay, now another thing that you can use is the guide. This comes with your accessory box, and you'll be able to. This is basically the top of the accessories box. They call it the selector device. You press this, and as you press it, as you move it, it'll change the design. See here, and then for each design it will give you the requirements. It's going to give you the cams that you want to use, and the other information as I mentioned before. And these are pictures of the actual machine. This would be the stitch length, this would be the zigzag, and so forth. Okay, so as you can see, we do have cam assembly placed in the machine, ready to go. And the way we did that is this lever over here, we simply move it out just like that, very, very easy. And as we move this, the cam holder, this lever holds the cam into place, it moves. So right now, it's locked in to start sewing. When we move this lever over, it opens it up, and you can pull the cam right out. Okay? This is what a cam assembly looks like. So we'll show you how to assemble it. We'll take it apart and show you how to assemble it. Okay, so order is very important when you're putting the cams on. If you change the order of the cams, it will change the design, and sometimes you want to do that. Maybe you want to have the design that goes over to the left and the other one you want to go over to the right. So you can do that with the cams. Now, they need to be put on to the cam assembly very, very tightly. Okay, so you press them down very tightly. This is an older machine, so getting these on here has been a chore for me. Start off with what is called the cam holder bushing. This cam, obviously, it fits You know, this fits into these grooves. But you also have a guide on each of these, with the exception of 0. I don't know if you can see it right here. It's like a little line there. Let me show you on another one. So you can see it much clearer here on this one. They'll all have this on there with the exception of the zeros. You want to line these up with each other. Even though this one is small, it is still there. So when you put it on, those guidelines will be lined up. Okay? So let's put this on and show you. I can't stress to you how important it is when you're putting this in to make sure that it's all the way in and everything's flush, because I'll pull it out, and you can, when you put it in, you could put it like this, okay, and it looks like it's in, but it's actually not. So you fiddle around with it until it actually goes all the way in. Okay, so let's pick a design. How about this one here? Okay, so it says we're going to use cam 22, 0, and 18. Okay, so we have 22, and remember, here's our guide. That line is our guide. 23 is over here. We don't want 23. We want 22. So that's we're going to put that on face up onto our bushing. Okay, next will be 0. Oops. Sometimes they get a little sticks. They stick a little bit. This is an old machine. Okay, and then finally, we're going to do 18. Now, what is this one? It's 19. We want 18, so let's flip it over. Our guide mark is right there. It's going to go right on top of the other guide mark. There we go. We want to fit them tightly together. We're going to secure it with our cam fastening nut. Okay. Then we're going to drop it right in here. Now, you want it to be, I don't know if you can see this, but you want this square here is going to be flush with this square shape here. If it's not, it won't sit down properly, and the cam on top will be level with this lever here. That's how you know that it's correct. So once that's in, then we tighten it up by pushing our lever back. Okay. Now this here, this string here, that has nothing to do with anything. I have a lot of machines, and each machine has its own clipper. So instead of running around trying to find these snippers, as they're called, I simply tie one to each machine. So once that's in, we close it up, almost ready to sew. Okay, now before you start sewing, of course you guys know that there's a variety of feet that you can use. This is a zigzag stitch, so you're not going to want to use a foot that is designed for a straight stitch. You need a foot that will accommodate a wide stitch that can go back and forth. See, like this, or this. These are where you can see what's going on. They're transparent. I think even this will work. So we want the zigzag lever all the way over, and we're going to turn this knob counterclockwise to secure it in place. It cannot move. This one is in place all the way at 0. This is in place all the way over. It is at 0. It cannot move. And then we want the design graduating knob. We want that to be at 2. So here is our design graduating knob right here. We're going to turn the lever so that the number 2 is in line. Okay. And then lastly, we have our stitch length regulating knob, which it wants it to be at 4. So our stitch length regulating knob right here. So we're going to turn it all the way to 4. Okay. Now we are ready to stitch. One other tip before you start embroidering, every machine tells you that they want you to use a certain thread. I think this machine for embroidery wants you to use a 50 weight. But what I found is that if you adjust the tension, you can just use about any weight of thread that you want. Obviously, embroidery, you want them to be maybe shinier, fancier, whatever. But all of these are different weights, and they have worked on this machine. If anything, like I said, I just adjust the tension. I will adjust the tension on the machine to make it just, you know, a little tighter, a little looser. Also, I will adjust the bobbin tension, and I'll show you how to do that in another quick video, and you'll be able to use any thread. What I would recommend that you do, a lot of times embroidery, they're going to use a thinner thread on the bottom, but if you don't want to go through the hassle of trying to find the exact thread to use, I would make it so that the top thread and the bottom thread are the same color. Otherwise, you're going to need the tension to be exact, and maybe you don't have time for that. I'm a very, very busy woman, even almost too busy to make these videos, so I'm just going to tell you, use any thread you want. Make sure that they are the same color and adjust the tension. Okay, play around with it first. You're going to have to play around with it anyway before you start, so why not do that? Okay, so I'll pull it out so you all can see what's going on. My little snippet. So here is the design. Sorry about the waves here. This is a stretch fabric. So obviously if you're embroidering on a stretch fabric, you're going to need some type of interfacing underneath so that a stretchy fabric does not stretch, unless that's what you want it to do. But here's the design, and if you want to change it, like I said, well, actually I didn't say it. Well, I might have. You can change the knob settings. I wouldn't mess with the zigzag settings, but you can increase the length. If you really want to get crazy, you can use this length adjusting knob, where in real time, if you go back and forth while you're sewing, you'll get you know, this design, but then maybe it'll get a little thinner, wider, thinner, things like that you can do. But that's how you do it. And so if you like this video, click like and of course subscribe. Thank you for watching.